Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Thursday, June 26th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown. So if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple of clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes I can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here represents 30 minutes worth of time. So ticker symbol number one, we are looking at TSLL and mapped this one out in yesterday's video and had this sideways channel here and said, all right, we'll see who's ultimately going to win. I did make the comment about how the price was seemingly starting to break down below there. Now, let me be very clear that I have any idea that the break of the downside of this channel was going to create that sort of movement to the downside. Absolutely not. That'd definitely be a bold-faced lie on my part. But now, did it seem to make sense that if it broke through there, it could find some downside pressure? Sure, that made sense. But like I said, at least me personally, that I think it would be that amount. I did not. So a brutal breakdown out of that opening range right there this morning. And we'll just actually go ahead and get rid of those lines as they've served their purpose for now. And at this point in time, we have a couple of key levels here to watch. First area right here actually would be this area of support. Basically the support triangle. Let's change that to green. And then at the same time, you basically have across the top here an area of resistance right there at 1267. And then just from an overall pattern perspective, if you watch videos before, you hear a lot about bull pennants, but here we actually have the opposite. We have this area of support, this area of resistance, this big downwards move right here. And then if I put the golf hole up here, yes, you're noticing down an upside down pennant pattern. This is a bear pennant. Now, as I always say with bull pennants, just because something's bullish does not mean for sure guaranteed it's going to go up. Same is true here. Just because something's bearish does not mean for sure it's going to go down. But would it be shocking at all to see this thing potentially come down here and break and then get more downside pressure? That would not be shocking. So again, not guaranteed to happen, but more than valid question to throw out there. So yeah, headed into tomorrow, TSLL with the bear pennant. Next one here, looking at ticker symbol QS, and I think a couple of well-defined areas here to keep an eye on. So as I draw this line in here, I'm not trying to impress you. I'm not trying to imply that was a great talent or a special discovery. And I say all that because when a lot of people are watching the same areas and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want, it can produce some very dynamic movement. So, like I said, I think a lot of people have drawn that line right there. So while that still doesn't guarantee anything, is it valid, is it plausible that if the price comes up here, breaks up through there, that break right there in and of itself could create additional buying pressure? That seems like a more than plausible situation. So keep an eye on that if you like to play breakouts. And then in terms of areas of support, nothing fancy here, but the bleeding essentially stopped today right down here around the 535 mark. So keep an eye on 535 if this does come back down. But right now, from a pattern standpoint, try to keep it one color. So we have our resistance here. We have the support right here. Getting a bit of a wedge. It'll take a little bit better shape if it were to come down here and maybe bounce down a little bit and then, maybe get some sort of break to the upside. But overall, it's been a gap up. Sure, it pulled back, but it's still maintaining itself, going through what seems to be a healthy consolidation. So we'll see what Thursday has to offer. Next one, SONM. Very ugly looking chart, no doubt about it. But you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly. But just as a quick recap, yes, the price gapped up, went all the way up there to think that some poor souls bought right there before things got really nasty and it pulled back. But this is where things get interesting, because when we take note of where the pullback is, at least started to go sideways, and that's right here at this pink line, that pink line being valued at the $1.21 mark, and that being the very famous 200 period moving average, at least makes it plausible to suggest that maybe, just maybe, this big old pullback is over, and maybe, just maybe, this thing wants to head back upwards. Again, I wish I could say trading was this easy, where we could say, well, yeah, because there's the big pullback, and then because it went sideways, that means that it is for sure the bottom. Not quite how it works. But again, my point is, it's at least plausible. Case in point, let's say the price was still dropping, and then I'm sitting here saying, hey, it's looking like this might be the bottom. You'd be totally justified to say, wait, what are you talking about? Based on what? The price literally just dropping straight down. But that's not the case here. It has at least started to go sideways. So it doesn't mean it's for sure the bottom. It just makes sense. So yes, if you like these sorts of situations where things are looking pretty ugly, but then you start to get some glimpses of maybe, just maybe, the price might try to curl back upwards. And if you can be a disciplined trader, honor stop losses, then maybe keep an eye on this one. Next one here, PSTV, and same general idea, although this one is not nearly as ugly as the one we just looked at. But same, like I said, general idea in the sense of big gap up, came back down, and then once again, surprise, surprise, look where it started to go sideways, right at that pink line in this situation, essentially 0.296 as the main area of support. And yes, it has started to head back upwards. And I'm going through this quicker because I just said all this, so I want to respect your time as much as possible. So again, just because it's behaved like this, does this mean for sure guaranteed it's headed upwards? No, but is it at least plausible? Does it at least make sense to throw out the question that maybe this thing is going to try to turn around after this bigger pullback? I think it at least makes sense to throw out there as a possibility. So if you like penny stocks, you like these sort of pullback situations, keep an eye on PSTV. Next one here, BBAI, and a very tricky chart to talk about because it's all about perspective. What do I mean by that? Well, if you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, whatever you want to call yourself, and you bought right there and your plan was to buy and sell within 7 minutes, well then yes, from that standpoint, the chart is an absolute train wreck because clearly there has been this big pullback. Now, if you care about things from the bigger picture point of view, everything, technically speaking, is totally fine. How so? Well, the main reason, the price is still nicely up above the purple line there, which is the 50-period moving average. And as I've said in past videos, again, this assumes you care about the overarching standpoint, but as long as price stays above the purple line as the line itself moves higher and higher, because that is a moving average, well then overall, if you envision that as a trend line that's drawing itself for you, the price is still in an overall uptrend. Again, I want to just reiterate, I understand. You think I sound crazy right now calling this bullish if you're some sort of day trader that bought right there. But again, I'm not speaking to you. I'm speaking to more so an overall situation and overall context. So no doubt about it, rough pullback. But from the grand scheme of it all, looking at multiple days here, the price does still have the opportunity to build a higher base. If there is going to be any sort of attempted turnaround, then key area of resistance, I would say keep an eye right up there around the 497 mark. But like I said, all in all, the trend is still up. But yeah, things are looking a little bit shaky after today. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering here very soon. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down below in the description area, or if you're watching right at my website, there's an area on the webpage there that you can click to get signed up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. Next one here, looking at ticker symbol NVDA, NVIDIA, and this will mean a little bit more to those of you that watched yesterday's video, but if you did, talked about how we had this bull pennant, how it was slightly starting to break out, and the big question today was this going to be the start of something bigger? And yeah, we got our answer. That indeed was the start of something much bigger. So for anybody that caught that late day breakout, boy, oh boy, did you get paid today. Big congratulations. So we'll get rid of that and just start afresh as we have new updates. So the first update is just what I would call the ideal level of support. I mean, if you say, Clay, what would make this chart look the absolute healthiest moving forward? And that would be if the price could stay above 150, 150. Now, if the price falls below it, does not mean the entire chart's destroyed because as we've talked about already on some of these other charts, from an overarching standpoint, just watch the purple line, that 50-period moving average, and as long as that line moves higher and higher and the price stays above the line as it moves higher and higher, well then by definition, the price itself is building higher bases, and that's how those long-term uptrends are constructed. So again, preferably speaking, yeah, stay above 150, 150, but from the grand scheme of everything, just watch that purple line there. In terms of areas of resistance, I think it's pretty straightforward. The price has struggled several times right here around that level of 154. So keep a close eye on that. But overall, anyway, look at it. Very, very powerful today. And again, congrats to anybody that took that breakout from late day on Tuesday. Next one, SMCI, and a very, very well-defined pattern here. We have already talked about a bear pennant, but now we're looking at a bull pennant. So let's get this pattern drawn into play. We have our resistance part of the pattern. We have the support part, and let's just keep it all one color to make sure that everybody can see it. So we have our area of resistance. We have our area of support. We have the nice upwards move right here. We have the golf hole down here. So here's our bull pennant pattern. Again, just because we had a bearish pennant does not mean the price is going to go down. Same as true here, does not mean it's going to go up. But I don't think anybody would be shocked if the price were to break up through there, and then that break gets good, solid continuation. So it's certainly a more than valid question to throw out there as a possible scenario. So we'll see what happens with it on Thursday. Next one here, SRFM, and I mean, no need to beat around the bush, an absolute train wreck of a day. And looking like this thing turned out to just be a pump and dump. What do I mean by pump and dump? Well, my definition is a price makes a really impressive move, and then with a relatively small amount of time, price goes right back to where it all started. So where did all this start? Well, the price before the big, huge explosion was right here. So that's where it started, and then the first criteria makes a really impressive move. I mean, in my mind, from going here all the way up to there, very, very impressive move. Second part, within a relatively small amount of time. Considering all this price action happened in basically 2 days, I think that's a relatively small amount of time. And then what happens? Well, the price goes back to where it was. So price hit a high here and is now right there. So let's go back to the box over here where we had started, where it started, and let me extend this out right here. And you can see that the price isn't necessarily right back to where it started. It's not quite back into this range, but in my opinion, close enough to just say, yeah, price made a huge move and then has gone back to basically where it was. Now, just because something was a pump and dump does not mean that another round of buying pressure, it doesn't mean that I can never make another nice move again. But as far as this price movement here was concerned, there is no genuine power behind it. What is my evidence to make that claim that there is no genuine power behind it? Well, price movements with genuine power don't all of a sudden go right back to where they started. Again, nothing can go straight up. There can be pullbacks, but you would think there's at least some higher lows and there's some trend being built. But this thing literally started here, made a big move, and then gave back all the gains. Again, that's not exactly a sign of genuine strength. So, yeah, this one seems to have just been a pump and dump, but who knows? Maybe there will be another round of buying that comes in. Next one, SAFX, and the chart's hanging in there, but I stumble around because this, again, is one of those tricky charts because all about perspective. Day trader, flipper, scalper, if you bought right there, if you bought the dip right there, and you wanted to buy and sell within 11 minutes, yeah, from those angles, things are not looking so good because this has been a very deep pullback from those highs. But if you care about the bigger picture point of view, there is still the opportunity to, show some signs of strength, build some higher bases. One way is if I get this trend line in play. Oops, let me move that down. So that's one way to look at it. The price is still up above this trend line. Another way to look at it is kind of hiding behind the trend line now, but we have that purple line there, 50-period moving average. So there is still a chance where the price could build a higher base. It could come down here and then head back up. And then from the bigger picture point of view, again, emphasis on big picture, because I understand if you're a day trader that bought right there, you don't care about any of this. But from a big picture, you'd still have a low there. You'd have lows here. You'd have lows here. Eventually, those are stair steps. So you could still have stair steps in the upwards direction. But yeah, the chart would have looked so much better had it closed even somewhere right around here. But yeah, this final pullback, this final movement right here, again, it hasn't destroyed anything from the bigger picture, but it certainly made it look a little bit shakier. So keep an eye on those areas of support. If this does try to curl back upwards, main area of resistance, I think to keep an eye on right there around $2.60. So we'll see how if this one can indeed get curled back around on Thursday. Next one, TSLA, and this will mean more to those of you if you watched the video from yesterday, but talked about this support line right here. And it came down there and just did not care about it at all. Now, did I think that a break of that level would cause that amount of downside pressure? I didn't. But nonetheless, not only did it break this trend line, came down to the purple line right there, the 50-period moving average, didn't care about that, crashed through there, came down here, then broke down through the pink line, the 200-period moving average. Now, to give some credit where credit's due, at least the price was finally able to get some upwards momentum, which allows me to draw this trend line right there. But anyway, look at it, still a whole lot of downwards pressure. Let me just get rid of those levels as they've served their purpose for now. So moving forward, though, I'm not going to call that a do or die support level, but certainly very important because if you want to make the argument that all the selling pressure is finally alleviated and is finally gone, that's fine. But in my mind, in order to make that argument, the price has at least got to stay above there because staying above that line does imply that the price is building those higher bases. So staying above that trend line there, very, very important. If the price does try to make another move back upwards, key area of resistance to keep an eye on, right there around $330. But yeah, rough start today. It's trying to consolidate out, trying to get a bit of an uptrend here. So we'll see if the bulls can build upon that momentum over the next couple of days. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and definitely should be used, then get signed up for the class. It'll be very soon, Thursday, June 26th at 8 p.m. Eastern time, so I hope to see you there. And then as far as these top 10 videos are concerned, as always, if you enjoy, make sure you hit that like button. And also, as an FYI, if you're not aware, I have been live streaming, so if you want to come watch me trade live, ask me questions, just hang out, then make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so that you are made aware of when I do indeed go live. So like I said, swing by the live stream, say, hey, I'm here from the top 10 videos, and it's always fun to make that connection. So thanks for hanging out, and make sure you go get signed up for the free class.